Alex, hello. This is Dr. Keith McNally. You are on the Question Guide podcast, and this is going to be a very special conversation, at least for me, because we're going to dive into a topic area that I don't typically talk about quite frequently with anybody. And so let's have that conversation. You wanted to share something on, can you share here on Zoom? You should be able to share.
Yeah, I will just share with you because you asked me the question about how and why I actually have different specific goals, and I made one webinar about how to daily build beyond success reality for generational wealth. And I'm a ruling reality coach, and this is something that I created as a positioning for myself, and it is giving for me more and more clarity from the last time we spoke. And because I'm really obsessed in understanding reality and what is the difference between reality and mentalism, as we spoke with you, and
Yes.
what is in our mind. And that's why I just wanted to share this part of this presentation that I made for one webinar I did.
Mhm.
And actually, in order to understand the construct of reality and people to understand why such people as me that are ruling reality coaches need to exist, it is because the basic idea about the human being is that we are willing to actually have powers.
We
But what
we
is
are
very
willing to have
important,
powers, or we have powers?
yes,
Okay.
we want to have powers, we think we have powers, but actually the biggest thing that we have is called positioning.
Okay.
If we stay in our super positioning as beings, because if you see now on the screen, it's the 4 quadrants of reality, and it is divided in internal reality, everything that is within us, we call mentalism, and in the Hermetic teachings, it is called everything that is happening in our mind, the thoughts are creating the outer reality and so on. Then we have the external part of reality, everything that is outside of us. And for me, it gave me a very well explanation of what I'm doing. On the other hand, the other thing is that individual is something that we have, and also because it's not only me existing, it's more than 8 billion of us existing on the planet, there is also collective part of our reality. And for me, in order just to explain why I'm positioning myself in this different direction, this is what is actually what is happening in quadrant number 1, called the internal individual. And it is very important because then we can distinguish that the I amness that we are is different than reality. And also what I mentioned in my book, Paradoxes of Life, Unanswered Questions to Humanity, it is very important to actually make the distinguish between reality, creation, who is creating reality, and why reality is constructed the way it's constructed. So in the mentalism part, everything that is happening within our brain, we have the awareness, the perception, consciousness, subconsciousness, dreams, visualization, memory of experiences, pattern recognition, everything you see here, intent, attention, focus, desire, passion, everything that is happening inside this head is the quadrant number 1, and all the personal development, a lot of self-help books, everything is concentrated in this area. And people think that if we as human beings are able to manage this quadrant number 1, we are going to be successful. And if we are able to go only into the mindset game, then everything is perfect for us. But the problem is that we as human beings, the I amness that we are neither quadrant number 1, neither quadrant number 2, which is our body, the expression of the I through the body, all the energy, vibration, biochemical and physical body function, everything which is quadrant number 2, this is the individual external part of reality that we are expressing. The big issue about us as human beings and the universe as a whole is that I have never seen myself, you have never seen yourself, and nobody knows exactly what we are. We are only seeing nonstop the expressions of ourselves. Because of the bodies, we are making some identity, but actually what is in the invisible part of us, even behind our thoughts, we cannot understand. That's why some people are going strongly into meditation and trying to disidentify from the quadrant number 1, which is okay. Some people are going into quadrant number 2, their body, and are doing fasting, different fitness, different type of breathing exercises, different experiences between the I amness and the body, and they're trying to disidentify themselves from the body. It is still okay. And this body part is also important part of reality, because if we don't have the body, we cannot experience anything of reality. And then the third part, which is the collective internal, this is something that is very important, because when you read the books, when you speak with people about religion, worldview, science, everything that is invisible, but we all as human beings, because of our civilizational experience and because of our collectiveness, we care about each other, and we are actually civilized human beings, and we have common understanding, common knowledge about things, and we can very easily communicate with each other because of this internal collective that we have created during all the time that we have been here. And there are some people that are very strongly involved in the quadrant 3, and the quadrant 4 is actually the nature and the civilization and technology, and here is actually the wealth, money, and assets. So every I am that is existing here in this reality actually can influence all the 4 quadrants of reality. And when we were speaking with you, I was telling that one of my big idea of expression of myself was in the quadrant number 4, to express myself with wealth creation, with becoming long-term billionaire, because I'm not afraid to work with excess. I'm willing. It's paradox, because more of the people say, well, Alex, you are maybe a millionaire, but it's not a good thing to have much. Everybody on the planet needs to have as much as it's necessary for himself. If you have excess, it is not good. But the paradox is that actually only when you have excess, only then you start to think about something more than yourself. You start to think about the common good, and you start to think about how this excess is able to help humanity. And that's why actually trade and civilization happened after excess happened in society. So with these 4 quadrants, I was just willing to share them in order, when we speak with the audience, just to be much more easy to understand. Now when we speak, it is very easy when I say, okay, this is part of quadrant number 1, or you see this quadrant number 4, how we as human beings are interacting, and how I'm doing it in my personal life and reality.
What got you started on this path? Were you always kind of working towards, and I don't have the word, forgive me, I don't have the word to call it. What do you call it? A path, a journey? What is this for you?
Yeah, for me, the biggest turning point in the COVID era was my realization. For example, when I was 17, I started to believe in God, that there is something beyond ourselves, our creation, our nature, and so on. And it helped me to go through my life till COVID. And my best idea till then was actually that my spiritual quadrant number 1 is only for myself. This is something you don't express with other. Everybody has his own opinions and so on. You are just doing whatever you want in life. And I'm okay because I know that one day I'm going to live in a different, better place and so on. So it is actually what I realized during the COVID time, that it is actually creating some type of dysfunctional being in me, because I think that spirituality is the answer of everything.
But so getting back, just for my clarity, COVID was the pandemic. COVID
Mhm,
disrupted everybody's lives in different ways. And in some ways it actually killed people
mhm.
because it was a pandemic. But what did it force you to change or recognize? Because you just said that you recognized a God or a God figure early in life,
Yeah,
but you are not 17 anymore. You are an older man, a mature
yeah,
man.
48 now,
40.
yeah.
I want, and so your perspective of God or the divine must be different than it was when you were younger. Yes? No?
Yeah, yes. And for me, the biggest thing that happened during the COVID, when all of us were asking ourselves different things, first of all, during all this period, I had a lot of success. I was bored from success because I had everything. I have a lot of houses, cars. I was millionaire. I had achieved almost everything.
You've
And
achieved
then
quadrant 4 very well then.
yes,
Okay.
yes. Quadrant 4 was even now it's something that I'm doing it on a daily basis. I'm earning a lot of money. For me, money was never a problem. And once you are very good at something, you can improve it long term, but it stops giving you fulfillment because you understand that you need to develop in other areas of life. I have one very big saying that if you are success in one area of life, if you hide behind your success, there are so many more areas of life where we are failures. So actually, even it was 2019, when everybody was wishing me for the new year very good, nice, positive things, I asked myself, why nobody's wishing me something negative? Why somebody's not wishing me something to happen to me that is going to make me challenge, to dare, to be growing, and so on and so on. And then COVID came and everything turned around. Everybody was closed and everybody was willing to develop in some areas of life. So by coincidence, I happened to be connected to personal development industry. I never knew that this thing existed,
Mhm.
but it gave me a very big question. That's why I like your show, because it's you're the question guy. And I started to ask myself all the fundamentals of life. This is what brought me to ruling reality, and this brought me to the questions why we actually live in this earth, if we are going to live for something that is going to happen after. What is the reason we to be actually here? And this is why I wrote my book, Paradoxes of Life, the unanswered questions to humanity. And my biggest actually experience of this was that I realized that actually we as human beings are participating actively into the creation of everything that is happening. So for me,
That's a
the
big
only,
idea to think about.
yeah, for me, we, the human beings, are generating reality beings.
And again, that's even a complex idea for me to think about. And I tend to think I'm a pretty smart guy, and maybe I'm not. So that leads me to say, I'm going to need to buy your book, understand a better
Yeah, it's free.
perspective. It's free. It's free. But my questions, to be quite honest, is something about you. You are a millionaire. So you said you got one into COVID.
Mhm.
You were set financially. You have excess. You're good at it. This is something that you're good at
Yeah,
developing wealth.
and COVID actually helped me much more because I'm in the pharmaceutical industry.
So I'm going to ask. So I'm going to ask you, were you hiding behind that success and not developing the other three quadrants of your life? Because that's kind of something that you hinted to, and I just kind of want to get some clarity on that.
Yes, in a sense, yes, but actually, I didn't understand that the meaning and the purpose of life is actually not to consume it, not to experience it, but actually we as human beings to position ourselves into generating life on a daily basis.
To
And there
create
is
it?
to create, not the exact, I don't use the word create, I use the word generate reality, because actually through the five senses, we are experience reality, but also through our inner being and the quadrant number one, we are deciding what reality we are going to generate. For example, right now we are in this podcast just because me and you 1 month ago decided to have this podcast. Before this, I bought some equipment. You have decided to have your podcasts starting and this show going, and everything little by little has led to this moment. But if we think who is generating in this
Did we
moment, it's
generate,
me and you. Yes,
did we generate this very moment?
yes.
Okay. I'm trying to conceptualize that that word versus create, because you don't like that word.
Yeah, because actually for me, in the moment I'm in my room, you're in your room, I'm generating my reality based on my intent, my long-term visions, everything that is in my mind. Your reality is something that you are creating. You have your long-term agendas. And in the moment, in this room, we are in a holographic, common, objective reality. And then when all the people start watching to us because of any reasons that they come to this attachment and are watching this, actually they're also coming into our experience. In the moment we are only two people into this reality, and then you see how when we are generating reality, time doesn't matter.
I like that idea. But
So
why does it
actually,
not? So
yeah,
because everything that you're going to
because
say, I need
a
to know.
person 20 years from now who is watching this is actually coming into this holographic part of time. So then time doesn't matter. And let's say that right now, you are the creator of everything. If you are the creator of everything, you see what a genius it is. Instead of you creating, you are creating a generating beings that are actually constantly generating reality. And the only thing you do as the creator of the beings that are generating the reality is you to hold the construct in such a way that the beings long-term consciously decide to generate reality that is good and beneficial for all. This is the long-term game of life, so to say, for me.
If it is for you, then I'm going to make the assumption it is for others as well. They want to be in a space, people want to be in a space where they are comfortable, safe, happy. I want to say wealthy, but not necessarily the case. But having money and, having resources is a good thing too. How, based on your experience, your knowledge, your appreciation of reality, how can people get to that space that you're in and accomplish those things that you want to accomplish? Is that
Yeah, in my
can I ask that question?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, because I like all the questions, because
Because
uh,
you have something that people want to know about.
yes, and everything that I know is so very little, and I'm constantly asking myself more and more questions. So this is very good. But I have created one program called Ruling Reality Basics, which is a 1 month program with 28 videos, and people are interacting with me 6 times during Zoom. And during 1 month, I'm mentoring them how to actually rule their daily reality the way that I'm ruling mine. And what is the basic of this program is this paradox. As I told you, we don't know what is exactly inside of us and how it looks like.
Mhm.
And I have coded that the I amness that we are inside is a limitless one. So we are limitless inside. The paradox is that we see a body in the physical matter reality, which is a limitation, and we say, how is it possible infinity to exist within a limitation? And then the paradox and what is happening on a daily reality, that this limitless being is daily experiencing the limitations. And then the authenticity is when this limitless being is expressing more and more of its limitlessness and is actually making less and less limitation. For example, in the quadrant number 4, in the moment I have something like 4 or 5 million euro. Because I want to stretch, for me, 5 million euro is like for somebody 500 euro. Not because, or 1,000 euro or $10,000. Not because I'm richer or he's poorer or she's poorer, just because now I have capabilities and I want to stretch even more my limitlessness in quadrant number 4. That's why I have created a 20-year vision of becoming a billionaire, of working in quadrant number 1 to create all the things necessary for the interaction with reality, so that when we speak again after 10 years and you see what are my limitless expression in quadrant number 4, you can say, well, Alex, now I understand what you told me 10 years ago and how you constantly and on a daily basis are building your expressions of the limitless being in quadrant number 4. So actually, this is what is the basic of the ruling reality. Limitless being experiencing daily limitation, but authentically expressing more and more of himself. And actually, this is what the personal development is trying to do, to make change inside, but they don't understand the reason why. Because actually, of course, change is an illusion, because if we already are limitless, if we already are everything that we wish to be, if we already are everything that we seek for, then the only problem is, why are we not expressing what we are? If I ask you, or if we ask somebody, are you willing to be millionaire? A lot of people say, no, Alex, I don't want this. I just want to have enough. Or why don't you want to have access and to have much more into your reality, so that you to be able to be beneficial for others? I mean, for me, it just happened because I have in the moment 10 houses which are fully owned by me, and I'm giving them as rent. And now I'm on my vision before 2030 to have 100 houses fully paid for more than 20 million euro and dollars around the world, which I'm renting to people, and am able to provide through my reality a beautiful experience for all these people that are renting these houses. And actually, in this way, I'm not consuming my wealth, because now I'm not consuming more than what I was consuming when I had very little, but I'm creating in reality more benefits for others to enjoy. So I'm using this excess factor in order to be less selfish, because people are actually afraid that if they have a lot, they're going to become much more selfish. They're going to think only for themselves, and they're going to disassociate from the other beings. Everybody wants to be humble when he has nothing. I want to be humble and to be as the most poorest being while being a billionaire, and to see then that there is no difference between me and the most poor person on the planet. We are 100% the same, and quadrant number 4 actually doesn't matter at all. He is a limitless being, and she is a limitless being, and I'm a limitless being. There is no difference between both of us. It doesn't matter how much every one of us has expressed in some of the quadrants of life. For example, some person can be ill now and have problems in quadrant number 2, Some other person can be very healthy and very fitness and fit and eating good food and having a vibrant body and so on. But in the inside, where is the I amness? We are both the same. So it's very funny because we are very generic in the inside. And then because of the reality specific and unique that each one of us has experienced, we have become unique reality generators. And I have asked myself this question, why actually we need to be 8 billion people on this planet? Because then the objective holographic reality is much more vivid. A lot of people will say, yes, but there are so much resources of the planet that are used for so many people. Yes, but if we have more people, we have much more unique and vivid reality, which is much more powerful.
I would think that in order for that to be the true reality or a true reality, more people would need to be thinking like you. So can we talk about that for a little bit? Are there things that you do regularly, daily, by the minute that constantly generates your reality for you, that, or would you rather just somebody read your book or go to your workshops? How do you want to communicate this to people?
Yeah. For me, things are very simple because I know that all of us are the same, and that's why I have made everything that I'm doing very affordable. And since I don't need money and I'm not dependent on my collaboration with other people, and I have decided to give 1/7 of my time to pay it forward and just to help others to do and to be positioned, because it's not about skills, it's not about knowledge. Everything is just about the right positionings. Once you are placed in your ultimate strategic positioning that the universe have created for each of us as human beings, only after this everything becomes to go into flow and, in a sense, effortless living. Not that we are not going to suffer and to have hardship and that we don't need to train ourselves in different skills, but it is going to be much more easy because now we understand the fundamentals of reality. And when me and you are the generators of our reality, only then it makes sense that one day I will be accountable for everything that I've generated, and you are going to be accountable for everything that you have generated, and not before a God, but before all the people, everybody, because during the period that I'm living, I'm actually part of the common holographic objective reality that all of us are in the moment projecting. And then, of course, it is a very, so to say, simplistic view, because more of the people that understand what is the power of every human being, this generating reality power, then it's very easy to learn to actually manipulate people to generate the reality that I want or somebody wants. And this is what I'm calling retranslating. So you go to the news, you go to the agendas of the different powers that are moving around in the quadrant number 1 and are affecting quadrant 1. And all of us are just saying, yeah, there is a recession coming. And we start to generate our own personal recessions. I'm not doing this. For example, if you have heard about Agenda 2030, that we will own nothing and be happy, actually, in my reality, I am creating a totally different agenda. I want to have
Well, I've not heard of
100
that.
houses. Yeah, it is a agenda of the
2030.
World Economic Forum.
Okay. I'll
It
look
is
into that.
a think tank organization. But the question is that why in the people's mind long-term into their reality is put this idea not to generate anything in quadrant number 4. Why for maybe 2, 3, 4, 500 years we are, especially in the last decades, we are not anymore encouraged to own, encouraged to grow wealth. We want more and more to go into, so to say, socialist reality where somebody else take care of quadrant number 4. My quadrant number 4, I would like to generate myself what my inner being is willing to express as limitless reality.
I still want to get there to appreciate your saying of I'm a limitless being.
Mhm.
And is that some type of, and please forgive me, is it some type of mental training or meditation, or do I need to read the right book? How do you get there? And I think that's kind of what if there's an audience out there that's listening to us, really is the core of the matter is, how do I get to the point where I can really, as you know, you're the coach, you're the reality coach. How do I generate the reality that I want to have?
Yeah, the problem is that anyhow, we are doing it on a daily basis. If you think about in the moment when I look at you, I see all the toys behind you. I see everything that is behind you.
I love
So
my
this is
toys.
something, yeah, I love them also. They're very good. And I saw some of your videos with these things. So you see, because of things that you have done in the past, in the moment, they're behind you, and now they're part of your daily reality. For example, now I'm living in my house that was built 15 years ago. It was built from me. It was first in my mind, then a possibility appeared, and so on and so on. So if you take away time, actually everything in my reality was built and created because of me. It's not that I'm doing this all the time in the right moment, but everything that I'm going to have in 2030, I need to start building this reality now. And the question is that when people ask me, okay, I want immediately to build a new reality. No, it's not possible. Actually, we need to put, and this is the power of choice. We, the human beings, do we have power of choice, or choice is an illusion?
Is that rhetorical?
Both, yeah, both of them are truth, because actually what I'm going to choose tomorrow, actually 95% of it I have already chosen before this, because I know that tomorrow I'm going to work, because I created this company, I'm going to be there. So I have almost created everything years ago. Maybe I have approximately 5% of things that I'm not sure what is going to happen tomorrow, and I need to do some fast choices. And then where is the power of choice? The power of choice is that today I can, through intent, decide what future I'm going to have and to create. And then on a daily basis, I'm putting my energy and willpower into creation through the interaction in all these 4 quadrants about my future reality. And it is like a garden. If you go into the garden, you cannot change all the flowers and all the fruits within one day. It takes time. It is done little by little. And this is the problem, that more of the people are just willing everything to happen within a day. It doesn't happen in the fitness room, and it doesn't happen into reality. But what happens into the reality is that everybody is ignoring the small changes. And small little successes today are creating big future tomorrow. For example, when I want to have 100 houses in 2030, I can wait to 29th and do nothing, and then just think that maybe something miraculous is going to happen. No, still today I have plans. In the moment I'm building 3 houses, I am creating a new project for another 3 houses. Then I have a new project for another 6 houses. Meanwhile, I'm investing into the Dominican Republic in 2 more houses. I'm looking for the German market. I'm looking for the American market. I'm looking for different opportunities in the UK. But Alex, do you have the money? You don't need to have the money because me and you don't know what are the resources that we are going to have in 2 years. It was a story when I started building my house and I didn't have a lot of money. And the builder said, don't worry, Alex, you even don't know how rich you are going to be. And I said, well, if this is so, then continue building the house. If resources are going to come when they are necessary and they're going to be there, then it's okay. So actually, we the human beings are worrying because we think that the resources that we have today are going to be the same resources when we are creating our new reality and that we are going to have, let's say, in 3 years. If we have somebody in the audience that can tell me exactly what will be their resources in 3 years, it will going to be marvelous, but nobody can tell you. And usually, for sure, we are going to have much more resources than even what we expect in 3 years, especially if we move forward into reality building.
For the first time, I'm out of questions. And that's unusual for me because there will be so many things to inquire about, but so let me ask this. I know you've got your plans for your houses.
Mhm.
What about for you personally? What do you want to experience next?
Yeah, I
Besides
want to
that,
experience.
besides being the billionaire, and that's okay.
Yeah.
What's for you?
Actually, yeah, actually, what I want to experience in life is less of me,
Tell me, what
be
does that mean?
much. I don't want to be to develop myself, to be better, to know more, all of these things. Actually, I want to know less in life.
Again,
I want to be less skillful because in life, the only thing you need to do is to trust the processes that already exist and are doing everything for us. We don't need to know. We just need to discover the processes and just to use them.
Okay.
Because wealth creation, for example, the building blocks of the wealth creation, you can ask every rich person in America, it is the assets. The second building block of wealth creation is to use credit, which through inflation is actually little by little destroying your credit. And because of assets appreciation, it is helping you to long-term build wealth creation. Wealth creation cannot be built only from our primary asset, which is ourself. If I depend only on myself for building and interacting my quadrant 4 reality, it is not going to be very successful. But as I'm surrounded with assets that are doing their job in reality, quadrant number 4 for me, then actually the paradox is that the more and more things I'm doing, more and more time I'm having, and my dream vision when I'm the billionaire, because in the moment I'm undercover billionaire. In my mindset, I am, and little by little I'm expressing it.
right.
But in order I to be there, actually, I need to come into a position to almost do nothing. Others are going to do everything for me. My biggest dream is to be only owner of assets, companies, passive, active investments, and so on, and to create high conscious companies where all of them are working in such a way that they are creating more and more benefit for reality. And actually, I'm just sitting aside and enjoying the reality that this created around me.
I do have one last question. We've touched on quadrant 1. You semi touched on 2, but I would have loved to have you talked about your story because one of the things I saw pictures of you, you were heavier at some point,
Yeah.
and you went through a personal physical transformation.
Mhm.
And I think you're very that's a success story for you. And I think you in some ways you tell that story to certain people. And we've also touched on quadrant 4, but we haven't touched on quadrant 3. My question to you is, where are the people? Where are the people that share your understanding of reality? Because there's going to be me and my
Mhm,
audience who are
mhm.
going to want to become a part of that group of people. Where are they?
Yeah, I started my digital presence and experience 1 year ago, and it is part of my 20+ year vision of positioning myself and creating a digital asset around myself. And part of this is my interaction with quadrant number 3. My vision for quadrant number 3 is to be surrounded with ruling reality masters.
Where are they?
So
I want to be one of
yeah,
them.
in the moment I have created two groups. One is in LinkedIn, Ruling Reality Masters. The other group is in Facebook. It's called again Ruling Reality Masters. I have approximately 50 people in each of the groups. I also do monthly webinars on different topics. For example, on 17th of August, I'm going to do a webinar called How to Rule Your Reality in Conflict. Because we, the human beings, like a lot to think only positive and to think only in simplicity. But the paradox of life is that actually complexity is where everything is hidden. It's too many processes, and we need to be comfortable with complexity in order to understand reality. And conflict is part of reality.
Hmm.
And
So can anybody, sorry,
I'm doing my digital presence in YouTube channel, Alexander Ermenkov, my YouTube channel. Then I'm doing my digital presence with my webpage, alexanderermenkov.com. And I'm having my two programs that I have built till now. Ruling Reality Basic program, which is a 1-month program that costs $1,000. And one other program, how to build beyond success reality for generational wealth. Because quadrant number 4 is not important. What is important is this I amness, who needs to learn how to dare to express more and more of its uniqueness and the specific thing that each of us have. This is the important thing, not the quadrant 1, 2, 3, or 4. Even the quadrant number 3, even if, let's say, I have 1 million followers, it is not going to make me better person than anybody else on the planet. We are actually the same. The only thing is how much, in which area of life, we are willing to express.
so those Facebook and LinkedIn groups, are you accepting new members, or is 50
Yes.
the cap?
No. I'm accepting new members, and I'm actually long-term willing to make every Friday Ruling Reality lives, where we are interacting with each other and people are actually giving their experiences during the week. As you know now, trackers are very something that is very popular. We're tracking our blood, we're tracking our sleep, we're tracking a lot of physical functions. And I am willing long-term and creating one thing called the Ruling Reality Tracker. Actually, reality starts the moment when we open our eyes, and it finishes when we close our eyes. Then the next day, the cycle continues, and it's approximately 33,000 cycles plus, close to 40,000 cycles. And what is happening during the day is actually the most important thing, because for me, the big paradigm is that the truth is hidden in the obvious. What I'm interested in is actually the obvious. Everything that we are willing to ignore, this is what is interested for me. Our small wins, our small failures are actually creating our future reality. It is okay today we don't to not like something of the reality, but there is another paradox there, that once we need to accept reality as it is, because it is perfect expression of who we are at the moment, and it is 100% okay. That's why I don't want to improve people. I don't want people to change, to improve, to be something else. They're quite okay as they are. This is what they're expressing in the moment in their reality, and they're comfortable with it. But if they want to actually little by little to express different reality, then it is made by creating a disbalance in the reality.
Well, now I need to read your book. Is
Yeah,
it on
I
your
read it.
website?
Yeah, it's my on a website, and it is on books, and it is very easy to read. No, it's not easy to read, but it's 11 pages, and a lot of people are telling me this is not a book. But I read it again today, and I realized a lot of more things even while I was reading it today. And it is a lot of fundamental things, and it is very interesting because it is answering a lot of fundamental questions.
Well,
If you want, I can just show it to you how it
well,
looks like on the
well,
web
what I'm going to
page.
do is so that all the audience on LinkedIn,
Mhm,
YouTube, and so forth, all the links that you gave me, any way that they can get in contact with you
mhm.
and find you, is what I'm going to put in the descriptions. So
Yeah,
that's
just to share with you, I had one client from Canada 1 month ago, and she watched my one of my webinars. Immediately, she paid the program, Ruling Reality Basic. Uh, she is a spiritual person, very, very deep knowledge. She say, Alex, I almost know everything that you are saying, but the way that you are presenting reality, it really made me to interact long-term with reality, and it again made me willing to live. And actually, she's a person in her 50s, and she thought that now life is coming to somewhere in the sunset. But when she
I'm
realized,
kind of with her there. Only that
yeah,
I'm not a
but
spiritual
when she
person.
realized when she realized that actually, when you know how much potential there is and how interesting it is to daily interact with your reality, it's 4 quadrants, and how much actually we can still express, because even at 90 plus years, because one of my vision is to be in the 90 plus club and to live 90 plus years. And even at 90, there will be so much energy and willingness from myself to express whatever I wish into reality even then. I enjoy people, for example, if you know Henry Kissinger, he's now 99-year-old, and he's very vivid. He's just going into some conferences, and I enjoy when I see old people that are still actively participating in the reality of all of us.
Cool. I love it. Alex, thank you so much for being on the Question Guy podcast. It was an awesome conversation. I would love to do this again with somebody that you've worked with, just kind of how they have, and you said you don't like the word changed, but how are they experiencing a new how are they generating a new reality as a result of communications with you? I think that would be a fantastic conversation to have.
Yeah, we can ask this lady, she's called Wendy, if she's willing to participate. It will be very interesting also for me to hear how she feels as a result of all this communication, because it's looks like very basic things, but they're going into a lot of deepness. I have created a lot of PowerPoint presentation where I'm explaining just how change happens within our being, and why we need to change first inside in order reality to start shifting. I have called this reality shifts, because with the human beings, we want first something to change outside, or to change things in the outside without we to change.
I think that'd be a good conversation. Again, Alex, thank you so much.
Yeah.